Any man give his life for YAHANNA, Christ, and for the money that U.P.K banner is my brother and my blood, and I will die and kill for him if necessary.
Check. All right. Pause that. All right. Shalom, Israel. This is the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General YAHANNA. This is Officer in the SHALAM out of the Nashville, Tennessee School, coming live and direct on this scripture breakdown. As you see the title, and give me 1 second, so I gotta find the actual. Let me be patient with me. Hold on 1 second. I gotta find the. Yeah, I want to get this video real quick.
Intuit, the maker of TurboTax, QuickBooks, and Mint, is creating jobs and
commercials.
That's over $63 million in income for local
1 second.
bringing more opportunities for everyone.
Get this off real fast.
Economy up to the very top.
Okay, what we talking about today, right? Tonight is another form, another branch of how white supremacy uses gentrification as a tool to basically push out and get rid of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And it's a very strategic move. We've done classes before. We've talked about they've been planning this out since back in the 1800s, 1900s, when we were trying to get homes at that time, places to stay. And before you even file for the paperwork, they will look at your application and already have coding to where they will put you in a certain area, or they wouldn't allow you to get the funding for a home or a place to stay at all. No kind of government assistance, nothing like that. You even look today when you see the so-called projects, right? That's about to be a thing of the past. The projects is exactly what it was. It was a project. It was an experiment. How do we encase these niggas, these savages, these wetbacks? How do we put them in an area where they can be monitored? And check this out, where they could be monitored while we help them kill themselves. Why do I say that? Because we didn't come up with crack. We didn't come up with opioids. We didn't come up with weed. We didn't even come up with the system on how to measure it. Like, how do you even know what an ounce is? How do you know what a quarter is, an 8-ball, a 16th? Where do you get these things from? It was taught by white supremacy. They gave us these measurements. They gave us these instruments to kill ourselves, showing a young 13, 10, 11, 12-year-old how to make what he can make at McDonald's in less than an hour. You make at McDonald's what you would make in a month, a 13-year-old would make in an hour or less. So then you putting that in that neighborhood, you putting drugs in that neighborhood, you taking the strong, like the scriptures say, buying the strong man, you taking the man up out the house. All these things were strategic. They were aimed at taking down Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians from the foundation of what they stood on, their family structure. In this day and time, they've even gotten to our minds, like the slavery is here. You know what I mean? Like, we physically go to jobs and do things like that because we're in oppression, but really the slavery is here. With our people, it's a mental slavery. So that's worse than physical slavery. Because with physical slavery, you still in your mind know who you are. You know that this ain't right. Like Ecclesiastes 7:7 talks about. You know, you have to have wisdom to understand that you're being oppressed and it's not right. You have to have you have to be courageous too, like Proverbs 28:1 says. So when you are physically a slave and mentally a slave, white supremacy got you. They got you. And they've strategically tried to do these things for a very long time. And they don't just come up with stuff within a year. These things are planned 50, 30, 100 years. And I can remember Commander General YAHANNA said a long time ago, man, it's going to get to a point where they're going to try to lock you up if you in debt. They'll look at your debt and they're going to try to figure a way to lock you up. Because right now, what we're going to look at, I'm going to give you a couple of scriptures on gentrification. Excuse me. I'm going to give you a couple of scriptures that you can look at and study and put in your precept books to explain gentrification, or to where the Bible speaks on it. You know, Bible has answer for everything. And then we're gonna look at this video where it is giving you a breakdown of what white supremacy is doing. You wonder why they're giving you phone calls about buying your house constantly. You wonder why so many realtors and investment groups trying to buy up all these houses. They're not buying up all these houses so they'll sell them back to you. They buying up all these houses so they can rent them out, so they can change them into condominiums, so they can change them into just rental properties. And then they're going to raise the price, the price of renting so high that it is going to totally destroy the dependency of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that are struggling and that kill themselves to save up for a down payment, or save up, budget everything they can to save up all their money so they can get a house. Now, when you go to qualify for a house, you're facing investors that have plenty of money because they have many loans from banks, and they're able to go to a seller and totally buy the house cash, versus somebody that's trying to get the house on a 20-year, 30-year, 15-year loan plan from a bank, which is a process, which is they have to qualify for it, and you take a risk on if they can afford it. You may have to take a lien out on foreclosure, all these different things. Man, these investors is coming out the woodwork buying up everything, and they're buying up blocks of houses. And you wonder why Black people, like, say, for instance, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are in like California, and the homeless rate is rising daily. You look at, I remember being in Houston, man, they got a tent city too. Here in Nashville, we got one. You can look, if you know the Nashville area, you can look by Briley Parkway. You can look up under the interstates from 65 to 40. You will see these tents. These tent cities are in these little secluded areas, and they're growing. And this is part of the reason. White supremacy is always strategizing how to get rid of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And now they're doing it in your face. And when we look at this video, we're going to see exactly how they're doing it. It's a very informative video. It's called, I think it's called, what's the name of it? I forget the name of it, but I'll try to find it at the in the class and pull it up. But that's what we're talking about this evening. All right, so it's a real informative class to understand, a couple of breakdowns, but just to kind of give you an understanding of what's going on out there when you're seeing all these houses being bought up, and people, you might be constantly getting calls. You know, this is where it's coming from. This is the formula they're trying to use to basically gentrify America, eventually gentrify the earth. All right, which is why we have to understand a scripture that I'm gonna go to in Leviticus is why we have to separate ourselves. Now, one sister had a question. It's in Ephesians 4 and I think it's Ephesians 4 and 26 is what she had. I'm going to go to Ephesians. Let me get you a second to get there. Let me check on everything real quick. All right. Ephesians 4 and 26. All right, Salaki, I'm just checking on the feed and everything, y'all. All right. So, okay, Ephesians 4 and 26. And it reads, get my mic game up, hold up. All right. Ephesians 4 and 26, and it reads, I'm gonna go to Ephesians 4 and 22 first. Okay, a question is in 26. We're gonna go to 22 first. That ye put off concerning the former conversation, the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts. If you understand anything about Ephesians, Ephesians is based on a city called Ephesia. This is about Paul's writings from, man, it's like from like, let me go back here, from Corinth, from Corinth to Ephesia to Galatia, all these cities Paul was going to not only just establish the schools, just like you see the schools in the UPK today. Paul wasn't only just establishing these schools. You got to understand these are letters that he's sending out to these schools for brothers and sisters, and specifically brothers, to understand what the scriptures mean and how to keep your school in order and how to keep yourself in order. How to basically, you see it as letters that's telling brothers how to keep the school together, how to keep yourselves, keep the brotherhood intact, keep the sisterhood intact, and how to stay in this truth and function as one body, like the scriptures talk about. Okay, so when we're looking at Ephesians 2, 4 and 22, we're looking at picture when a person is first coming to the truth, like the scripture said, Ephesians 4 and 22, that you put off concerning the former conversation, the old man. That's who you used to be in the world. That conversation, the way you act, the way you think. Being in the world, you don't go by any laws. You don't have the truth. You believe that homosexuality is evolving, and that a man and a man and a woman can be married legally. You think that's righteous. You think it's righteous that you pay your tithes on Sunday, sin all from Monday back to the next week and Sunday. Act right as soon as you just came out the club, as soon as you just got through twerking and in grinding on every rod that you can in the club, smoking weed, doing drugs, pop mollies, hit that opioid, whatever the hell they got out. And then you go to church on Sunday and everything's good because you're saved by grace. You think that's the life. You think that's the life, YOLO. You think you're doing right. That's the old man, all right? Which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts. There it is right there. You being in the world, you being a Christian, a Muslim, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness, any of that crap, Catholic, all that crap, comedic sciences, all that crap. And if you in comedic sciences, you need to get up out of there because that's full of homosexuality. Man, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna give it up to Captain Tazariak, because man, he went through the comedic world and totally destroyed them. He put out a new video where Shaka Amos is saying that, if you know anything about Shaka Amos, he's one of the if you know anything about Sinetta TV, he's one of the I guess their little leaders in that group that talk about the comedic sciences, you know, everything about Egypt and all that. And Shaka Amos said that it's not gay for a man to rape a man, because it's showing that he's a warrior. It's showing that he is showing his dominance. Just like if you were in jail. He tried to say like Mike Tyson used to be, the trash talk that Mike Tyson used to do, talking about other fighters, is that's how you be that's normal to be dominant. It was taught by the Greeks and the Romans. If you go into the history of the Greeks and the Romans, they were homosexuals, man. You look at the gods they worship, the statues where they showing their little pee all the time. The Romans, the reason why they even wore the uniforms that they wore, it kind of looked like a kilt with like metal made out of metal and leather, is because the Romans was known to rape their enemies, man. That's part of their like warfare. It's almost like a mental warfare. Like they would rape their enemies, man. They wasn't wearing those drawers and nothing up under there. That's the type of mentality they have. I mean, they even had to put out an edict where, and that's like a law where in order, that's where the monogamy came from, the one wife came from, because the Romans was so homosexual, they had to come out with an edict, a law, to say that you had to be with a woman in order to populate, so you could keep your army going and keep your country populated, because they was flaming homosexuals. Like, that's what the world is, man. And when it says which is corrupt according to deceitful lust, that's lust of men. That's what it means for you to be your old self, because you believe in that type thing. And all that mentality of Shaka almost saying that it's okay for a man to rape a man to show dominance, that comes from Greeks and Romans. That comes from Esau. That comes from a world that is like in Job 9:24, is ruled by the wicked. All right. It was given to the hands of the wicked and is ruled by them. So the way this world is thinking, the way that we was raised in the world is wrong. It's full of sin. It's full of lust. Lust is sin. All right. You're fulfilling the lust of your flesh. Let's keep going. Verse 23, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, meaning that you become a new person when you come to the truth. Everything, look, if you sold your box, if you had sex with men for money, when you come into this truth, highlight this. And that's anybody, not people that just, been strippers or prostitutes. Anything that you used to do in the world, you could have been a killer, man. You could have did any vile thing that you did in the world. Highlight this scripture for anyone that wants to point their finger at you because you came in the truth and you've changed yourself, and they trying to say you ain't no different than me. You ain't no better than me. You just part of some cult. Highlight this scripture right here. All right. This is Ephesians 4:23. And be renewed in the spirit of your mind. The Lord sees you as a new creature when you come to this truth, the real truth, the home of the truth, the I.S.U.P.K. All right. You become a whole new creature. You are a person that never had sex, never sinned. You have a clean slate when you come into this truth. That's why Christ died. It's not for some preacher to dunk you up under water, and then you come up from the water. You was a drug dealer for you went up under the water, and you go up under the water being so-called baptized, and you come back out the water. Now you like this new creature? No, you're just a wet dope boy now. Ain't nothing changed. But when you come into this truth and you really believe this truth, you believe in the Lord, and you believe that Christ came as a man to prove that you can fight your flesh, that you can go by every law of this Bible. It's over 613 laws, and you can abide by all of them and become a new creature. That's what that scripture talking about. Make sure you highlight that. Verse 24, and that ye put on the new man. You see that? You become a new person. That's for you too, sis. You too, brother. You become a new person when you come through these doors and you come into this truth. Which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness. You're righteous and true holiness, meaning that I think the precept for that would be, I want to say, let's look at Leviticus 20 and 26 to understand what holiness is. Let me look it real quick. Put up real quick, make sure I'm right. Okay, look at for a precept for Ephesians 4 and 24. I want you to go to Leviticus 20 and 26 real fast. Let me give you a little time. Go to Leviticus 20 and 26. So and if you want to highlight this or put it in your precept book, put Leviticus 20 and 26 in your precept book as what does it mean to be holy? Okay. Now, Leviticus 20 and 26 says, and ye shall be holy unto me. This is the Most High saying this now. Holy means to be separate. This is the Most High saying this. And ye shall be holy unto me, separate only to me. You should be only to me. That's the Most High saying. For I, the Lord, that's capital L-O-R-D. Anytime you see the scriptures have a capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D, that's talking about the Most High. For I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine. That's the Lord saying that I have severed you. If you Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, you are part of the 12 tribes of Israel, and you're supposed to be separate from the world. You're supposed to go by the laws of this Bible. You are severed from the world. You are cut away from them, separate from them. And if you're separate from them, you should be here. This is your constitution, the Bible. This is what you live by. Not that Christian mess where you pay your tithes, do what the hell you want to do. In the Christian church, remember this: you pay to sin. You want to get in, then you got to pay to sin. That's the Christian church. In the Bible, you got to go by the law, whether you like it or not, whether you feel good about it or whether you don't like it. It don't matter. It's like your father telling you, you can do this and you can do that, but you can't do this and you can't do that. You might not like it, you might not agree with it, but he knows better than you do. He's looking out for you. That's what the Lord said. The Lord said, I'm going to read it again. Leviticus 20 and 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy. I, the Lord, am separate from everything, and have severed you from other people. Severed you from all these nations, all these heathens, not your people, but the heathens in the heathen way, that ye should be mine. Because what the Most High has always taught in the scriptures is you cannot accept the heathens' traditions and customs. Who are the heathens? East Indians, Arabs, Asians, any other race besides Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You don't participate in anything that they do. Their customs, their traditions is pagan and it's against the Lord. He wants you to be severed from them and with him. All right. That's a precept for Ephesians. We're going to go back to Ephesians. Ephesians 4 and 24. All right. So go back to Ephesians 4 and 24 and read again. And that ye put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and in true holiness. So now we know what holiness means. Verse 25, wherefore putting away lying, you don't lie anymore when you're in the truth. Speak every man truth with his neighbor. Your neighbor is your brother, your sister. It's not if you got, I don't know, Wong Tong Yapana Pat staying next to you. That ain't your neighbor, man. Your neighbor is your brother, your sister, under the 12 tribes of Israel. For we are members of one another. We are one body, one faith, one baptism. All right. Now, the sister's question right here. Be ye angry and sin not. Even if you mad about the situation you in, that does not give you a reason to sin. You do not sin just because you're angry. All right. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath, neither give place to the devil. Listen, man, don't hold on to things that you want to do that's in sin. Oh, hold on 1 second. 1 second. Here you go. This you right here. Right? You know, you kind of handicapped, but take your time. All right, so do me a favor. Make sure I'm good on the feeds. All right. If any questions pop up, let me know. It's like you. Where's we at? Verse 26. We're at Ephesians 4 and 26. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Meaning that don't hold anger. For instance, you at your slavery and some things have happened on your slavery and they're unjust. They were evil done to you, wicked things done to you. And a lot of times it makes us mad because it happens from our own people. Don't take that and you take it home with you. And now you can't even have peace. You can't even sleep. It's constantly on your mind. Don't take the wrath, don't take the anger, don't take the feeling of oppression and things that we deal with in the world. Being in the truth, you are free. You're not a slave anymore when you come to the truth because you know who you are. So don't take that home. Don't take that and hold on to it. Like it will destroy you. Anger and wrath will destroy you if you like internalize it and keep it and hold on to it. It's okay if you angry about what's happening to you and your people. If you angry, then do the work of the Lord. Do something. Faith without works is dead, according to the scriptures. It's not about just sitting there praying. I seen on Facebook somebody put up a cartoon. It had a sister. It was two sisters. One sister, they was at a garden. One sister was on her knees praying that her garden grows. It's dirt in front of her. Another sister is watering her plants, and the plant is growing. It's like you can have faith, but if you have faith and you really ain't doing nothing behind it, faith without works is dead. So don't expect a change. Don't internalize the anger and the wrath that you deal with in the world, and it destroys you. All right? Verse 27, neither give place to the devil. Who's the devil? You look at John 8:44. Okay, let's look at it real quick. I want you to go to John. It's right before Luke. No, I'm sorry. It's right after Luke. It's like John 8:4. What is the devil? Because you've been told that the devil is like the little red guy with the horns and all that, right? Let's look at John 8:44, right? John 8:44 says, "Ye are of your father, the devil." Let's keep reading. And this is Christ saying this now. This is in red. "And the lusts of your father ye will do." The sins of your father, you'll do it. Remember, it says your father, you are of your father, the devil. You just like your father, the devil. "He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own." A devil is a liar. In this scripture, if you go up a little bit, the scripture, Christ is talking about the Sadducees and Pharisees. Christ is talking bad to the Sadducees and Pharisees about them acting like the Romans, acting like the oppressor. That's why he says at the beginning, "Ye are of your father, the devil." You acting like your daddy. Like we say in UPK, you sit there in sisters in the world, not you in the truth. Sisters in the world, you want to call the police. You know why you call the police on your man? Because you think that's your daddy. You think that white man gonna come through and put your man in jail because you think that's your dad. You think that when you can't have your way, you call the police and then he'll come through and beat your man down. And what you don't know is he'll kill him right there in front of your face. Or maybe you do know that and you don't mind. Either way it go, that's evil as hell. And you are like your father, the devil. That's what Christ was saying. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar. The devil is a liar. The devil that you've been taught by Dante's Inferno, by Thomas Aquinas, that is not the truth. It's not some monster waiting to torture you when you die. It don't exist. Okay, Satan is Satan. He's an angel that takes orders from the Lord, and he's been ordered to test Israel on who really wants the kingdom of heaven. That's Satan's job. He's doing his job. You're supposed to resist him. You're supposed to just ignore him and not fall for his tricks. A devil is white supremacy. It's a liar. And the father of it. All right? Now, Read 27 again, Ephesians 4 and 27. Neither give place to the devil. Don't let white supremacy get into your head and tear you down. Because it's strange how, and I hope that answered your question, sis. If it didn't, just put some more information in the chat. If you did, you had a question about something specific, but I broke that down pretty thoroughly. And it leads right into what we're talking about with the affordable housing. Okay. Brother, what I'm gonna get you to do is I want you to go to, we're gonna kind of do a, you know how I be doing kind of like the play-by-play. I'll let the video play and I'll stop it, get you to read the scripture. That's what we're gonna do. All right. And these scriptures are just these are for your gentrification breakdown. But we're gonna look at this video and it's gonna explain what I'm gonna do too, brother. If you could you see that the Facebook feed? Could you turn it to where they can see that TV? First scripture we're gonna look at is Deuteronomy 2 and 22. And what I'm gonna do is, as we go through this video, we're gonna break down scriptures behind it to show how evil gentrification is. And this is a form of it. This is a branch of it. And what I'm showing you tonight is how affordable, how white supremacy is slowly going to get rid of affordable housing. They are literally trying to put people on the streets so they can die on the street.
So could you repeat the scripture?
Deuteronomy, the one that we talking about now?
I believe the one right before Deuteronomy.
If that was Ephesians, the question the sister had was in Ephesians 4 and 26. That's where a question was. We broke down Ephesians 22 to Ephesians 26. I hope that answers what they're saying. Right now, we're looking at Deuteronomy 2 and 22. We're going to look at that. And I'm about to play this video. Make sure that's what I want. Let me see.
Man, I think that was my sword we was using at camp.
What's that?
My sword, what was running at camp.
Did you need one?
I got one off the table, but like I believe that was my
sword. Okay. Well, you good. That's right on time. All right, now we're going to start this video, y'all.
Affordable housing continues to be a massive problem in the United States, particularly in large cities. That had already been a problem. But now we're noticing that prices for homes lower in the market, typically in neighborhoods that are a little more affordable for people, are also experiencing a pretty steep increase in prices, bidding wars, and apparently all cash buyers are behind all of it. The situation is much worse than you even expect. So I want to start off by just showing you exactly what's happening in the housing market overall. Affordable housing advocates are panicking. This one tweet says, the Case-Shiller Tiered Home Price Index below shows why. The lowest priced homes in the country are appreciating the fastest, driven by all cash investor.
Let me let you know what that means. If your house is worth, let's say your house is really worth 120, it's so many cash investors. It's so many people that realtors and cash investors, realtors that are taking loans from banks to get all kinds of money. Investors that are getting loans. When I say investors, from big corporations that's getting big money, millions, billions of dollars, in order to take that money, buy houses cash out, either destroy them or remodel them to where they're these, if you've seen lately these skinny homes, it's like they're real skinny, and usually it can fit about 4 or 2 different tenants in there. Go ahead.
They're building up.
They're building up, right. They're not necessarily like about land anymore. They're going up, like the brother said. Also, they're turning them into condominiums. They're taking these homes that is really worth 120, and it's so many people investing into the housing market that your home that may be is really worth 120. Now it's saying that it's worth 200,000. So they'll give you that 200,000. They'll give you that money so they can take these homes, destroy them, build them up as rental properties. Then, most people that can afford that is Esau. It's white supremacy. They can afford that. So then if it starts to slowly push out poverty level people, houses that's been left to that their elderly people have had for years and left to their kids or whatever the case may be, these houses are starting to get bought up. And now, as you see on this chart, you can see that the value of the houses, if you look from 2000, it was like 100, what is that? Increased hundreds of thousands of dollars from 2000 all the way 2008. Then the 2008 bubble came, it went down. And now look at 2020, from 2010 to 2020, it spiked all the way up. That's because there's so many investors putting their money into the housing market to buy all these houses up. So now your house, they're telling you is worth this and that, but really it's not. It's just that they've invested so much money into this so they can buy houses by the blocks. If they're buying houses by the blocks and turn them into these high-price apartments, high-price condos, high-price duplexes or whatever, they about to push out millions of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians into the street. Give me Deuteronomy 2:22. Let me show you. They've been doing this in the scriptures all the way back in this time. Let me show you right here. Go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 2, verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
As he did to the children of Esau.
As what?
As he did to the children of Esau.
Now, this is the children of Esau now. Read.
Which dealt in Seir.
Mm-hmm.
When he destroyed the Horims.
Mm-hmm.
From before them.
Mm-hmm.
And they succeeded them.
And they what?
Succeeded them.
So now they succeeded them. Esau succeeded. Go ahead.
And dwelt in their stead even unto this day.
And did what?
Dwelt in their stead even unto this day.
This is giving you historical proof that Esau has been running people out their houses and staying in their stuff, man. That's gentrification back in the Old Testament. Right there. Put that in your scripture. Highlight that for your precept book under gentrification. Deuteronomy 2:22. Esau has been going to war with people, whether it's psychologically or physically, taking their property and staying there and kicking them out all the way back in the day of the Bible. All right. Give me Job 24:2. We'll go there next. So go to Job 24:2. And then we're gonna hop back up in the video. Just hold that scripture. We're gonna come back to it. All right. Okay.
Buyers. So you can look at that graph and it shows you exactly what he's referring to there. And there is a very real reason for why this is happening. Home builders are literally selling entire neighborhoods to wealthy investors.
You hear that? Entire neighborhood. That lady said, man, let me get this. Let me go back a little bit.
Homes in the country are appreciating the fastest, driven by all cash investor buyers. So you can look at that graph and it shows you exactly what he's referring to there. And there is a very real reason for why this is happening. Home builders are literally selling entire neighborhoods to wealthy investors.
Sellers are selling whole neighborhoods to wealthy investors. Give me that scripture, Brother Show.
The book of Job, chapter 24, verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
Some remove the landmarks.
Mm-hmm.
They violently take away flocks and feed thereof.
Read that again.
Come. Some remove the landmarks.
Oh, right there. Remember all them great your house and how you decorated it and all the good things, the memories and the things that you might have put up in your area to remind you of, I don't know, historical figures or people in the neighborhood. That's finna go away. What they do with Harlem? They don't even call Harlem no more. They call it what?
Soho.
They took the name because it's too niggerish. Because people think of Harlem, they think of Bumpy Johnson. They think about all the men. I'm not saying these were great men, because they sold dope and stuff, but at least they cared about their neighborhood in a sense, in some kind of way. And there was other good people in those neighborhoods that did good things for people. People that you don't even hear about in videos on YouTube, that people in let's say in Harlem knew at that time. Everybody knew about them. They would put up north on the East Coast, they put murals up, like they spray paint and stuff like that. It ain't like a bad mirror, what they call tagging and stuff. It's more like murals to remember great people in the neighborhood. That's gonna be a thing of the past. Why? Because our neighborhoods are being violently taken away. Just because it's not physical violence, it's mental violence. And it is physical violence because, like Ecclesiastes 7:7 says, the second part says, a gift destroyeth the heart. You think that because you're getting this bread for this home, that they looking out for you. Now, I'm not saying if you sell your house, you choose to sell your house. That's your decision. What I'm saying is the strategic plan behind what white supremacy is doing to buy up whole neighborhoods in order to kick us out. The gifts that we think we're getting is really to destroy us. Okay? That's the point. I'm not saying it's bad to sell your house, man. If you gotta sell your house in order to get yourself up on your feet, do what you gotta do. You're in oppression. But the main thing we gotta understand is that there's a hidden agenda behind what they are doing. They're doing it on a huge, large scale. All right? Read that scripture again.
Some remove the landmarks.
Mm-hmm.
They violently take away flocks.
They violently take away flocks. Who's the flocks? Didn't Christ say, tell the 12 disciples to go after the lost sheep of Israel? We are described as sheep because if you ever know how sheep conduct themselves, they don't put up a fight. All you gotta do is grab them. They grab them, they willfully go wherever the hell you want them to go. That's how the earth treats blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians like we sheep, because we don't fight them. You know why? Because we think Caesar Borgia is Christ. We believe what white supremacy say. We think homosexuality is right. All these things they teach, we think is right. That's what we have to stop. Is that it for that?
Last part, and they feed thereof.
They feeding off us, man. Those stimulus checks. The reason why they call them, well, as we call them stimmies, the reason why they call them stimulus checks is so it can stimulate the economy. They literally tell you to go out and spend. They're not doing that for you. They doing that so they can get money and get these businesses back up on their feet. White supremacy does not ever look out for us. Every strategy, everything that they do, everything you think they're doing for you is to help themselves. Brother, give me let me get Proverbs 22 and 28, and we're gonna go through the video.
Which prices middle-class buyers out of the market and also, of course, inflates the price of housing. And understand that when they do this, they don't do it with the intention of then selling the houses in these neighborhoods. They do it with the intention of renting the home.
You hear that? They're not buying these houses to sell to another person to buy, like blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians do. Hey, brother, I think some people coming up. They don't do that for the intention of helping blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to sell the houses back. They do that in order to rent. She just said it. Let's listen.
Which, of course, minimizes inventory of houses for people to buy, and that prices people out of the market. There are other ramifications as well, which I'll get to in just a minute. But this was a pretty decent report from the Wall Street Journal. They gave some examples. For instance, D.R. Horton Inc. Built 124 houses in Conroe, Texas, rented them out, and then put the whole community, Amber Pines and Foster's Ridge, on the block.
Look at that. That's 124 houses. That's a whole block. that this investor, does it say who the investor is? Probably the investor. No, I don't see who the investor is, but it's an area in Conroe, Texas. And the area is called Amber Pines at Foster's Ridge. This investor bought the whole, oh my bad, it's D.R. Horton Incorporated. He bought the whole 124 houses, bought it all up, and rented it out to invest in it. Now think about how many people that is. All right, go.
A who's who of investors and home rental firms flocked to the December sale. The winning $32 million bid came from an online property investing platform.
Now he sold all that for $32 million, so he made his flip. Now, this is the game. They don't do it to put the houses back on the market. They do it to where now they're renting them. If they're renting them and they're going to raise the rates of the rental fee of the rent, Blacks, Hispanics, and Navy can't afford that. So they push these people out. This is the game. This is the formula. A huge investor comes in, buys 124 houses. Another investor pays him for that. So where he makes profit. Then he buys everything and turns it into rental property. He makes over 100% off of his money. And then at the end of it, it gets gentrified. Every other rates are raised up. You can't even get gas in that damn neighborhood. And this has happened all over the country.
Fundrise LLC, which manages more than $1 billion on behalf of about 150,000 individuals. So D.R. Horton booked twice what it would typically make selling houses to the middle class. And this is really about speculating, yield chasing investors or snapping up single family houses to rent or flip. You know, a lot of this activity is reminiscent of what we saw prior to the housing collapse in 2008. But as one real estate consulting firm mentions, you now have permanent capital competing with a young couple trying to buy a house. This is from John Burns, who has a real estate consulting firm. And he estimates that in many of the top markets, roughly 1 in 5 houses are sold to people who will never even move into them. So again, this is speculator activity, investor activity. This isn't about providing homes or selling homes to people who are looking to live in them. And the worst part about all of this is if you've done your due diligence, like you followed all the rules, you're putting the avocado toast away, you're saving up like crazy for that 20% down payment, you're done. You're priced out of the market because your 20% down payment is now competing with all cash buyers, more often than not, investors who could be over leveraged, meaning that.
What she's saying is people that's saving every penny they got just for the down payment for a house. Now you're competing against investors that have so many loans and money behind them that when a seller is looking at this couple that's been, scraping and striving everything they can to get that money up, they're going against corporations that have millions of dollars or another realtor that has thousands of dollars that can just buy the house straight out. Now, if they can buy that house straight out, they're not looking at this couple no more. So what you're looking at is you're looking at multi-million-dollar corporations going against people. These sellers are going to these corporations. That's why they're able to buy out whole neighborhoods like this. This is gentrification right here. This is just another strategy they've came up with that can be on a very vast scale. They're taking over huge amounts of neighborhoods with this strategy. That's how dangerous this is. Let me get that scripture, bro.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 28. All Marco got it. Come. All right. Remove not the ancient landmark.
Say it again.
Remove not the ancient landmark.
Keep reading.
Which thy fathers have said.
Which thy fathers have said. What's this saying? Look, man, the same thing has happened in the Bible before. your inheritance of certain things that you get from your parents or whatnot is precious. You should hold on to it, not just for yourself, but so you can pass it down. People, what white supremacy knows is if they can just dangle certain things in your face, you will bite. You will bite. They'll just keep throwing numbers at you. You're going to bite. And it's on a large scale. There's the strategy that they're using is so diabolical, is that they know we oppressed, they know we out here struggling. So yeah, we're going to bite on that. And we're going to take that money and just jack it off. We're going to use it for anything. You know what I mean? So they play on our weaknesses. And with them doing this type of scheme, gentrification has just been sped up. Go ahead, bro.
So like, I think you said something real important right there. Well, they play on our oppression. All right, so like during the 90s, I seen how, the neighborhood I grew up in had a whole, it was like the hood, but there was also houses in there that had been there for like, decades.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it was like decades of, and it was all black, the whole neighborhood,
mm-hmm.
all, from about, for miles, it was just all black.
Sure.
And I seen how during like the 90s, I mean like the early 2000s,
mm-hmm.
that's when, they start to come into the neighborhood and try to gentrify the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. And
I seen how, this is something that I just observed. I seen how that, they was buying up a whole lot of houses. People, their mothers and their fathers had left, the grandparents had left, the children these houses.
Mm-hmm.
And, what they was doing, the children ended up getting on drugs and, doing all kind of stuff. And they couldn't pay the taxes for the houses.
Mm.
So that's really where it came from.
Mm.
They couldn't pay these taxes for the houses. So instead of, people just coming in, a lot of people lost their houses just because they couldn't pay taxes.
Okay.
So they was coming in and taking houses from people. And then other people were saying that they were just taking houses for free.
Mm-hmm.
And they was like, okay, well, we're going to sell the house because we can't pay for the taxes. So I see how our neighborhood changed because people couldn't pay the taxes. And, the people was coming in and they were buying these houses. And then they would buy the houses. And instead of, renting them back out to the people,
mm-hmm.
they was tearing the houses totally down.
Okay.
And then start building big old $500,000 houses right there in the hood. And they knew that people were, I'm not sure if you went over this part, but they knew that we couldn't afford them houses.
That's
right.
What I'm saying? That's right.
So that was part of, that was how that they was flipping that's how they've been flipping these neighborhoods.
Exactly.
They would buy these houses and then they'd tear the houses down and build these big houses on, and they're now putting affordable housing back in that community.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who live in that community, they got to go.
Exactly.
They got to move out, because there ain't nobody putting no affordable houses back inside of those communities.
Exactly right. And like we talked about earlier, she said the exact thing you just said. Mm-hmm. She said that's why she's coming up with the example of this couple facing investors, because what they're doing is they know if they come in and buy, instead of buying bits and pieces, they come in and buy huge amounts. We talked about 124 houses a few minutes ago. They buy that whole thing, and the dude that bought it don't even want all that. He's flipping. He buys it, sells it for $32 million. The guy that bought it for $32 million. That bought it for $32 million. He comes in, annihilates everything, like you just said. And like the brother said, like now, he said this early in class, they're not, like the houses now are real skinny, and it's not about land, it's going up. They go straight up, they're real skinny. So now you can fit about 4 different tenants in there, this side, that side, that side, and that side on the bottom. And they're renting. And these prices is $1,500, $2,000. Don't be close to the inner city. Now the inner city is where everybody wants to be. That's why they got all these different stores and stuff on the inner city. I'm speaking of Nashville, which is a model for everything else. So just like you said, they're not tearing them down to help us out. They tearing them down to get you the hell out and them to make money and for the rich to come in and they just making each other money.
And if I could, and the people who are these investors, they're not from that city.
No,
you know what I'm saying? These are people who, come from other areas and they, renting these houses and stuff out. They're making Airbnbs. They, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's another game, the Airbnb game. Yeah, these investors, man, they in Australia somewhere on their laptop, bro, chilling, making $32 million deals. You know what I'm saying? We looking at it. Did I hear you read all that, Oxalaki?
That was it on Proverbs.
Okay, give me let's got a couple. Give me Joel 5:5. We're gonna go there next, and let's roll the tape.
They took out loans, speculating that, investing in this market, investing in the housing market and doing these rentals will pay off. But if, for instance, interest rates increase a little bit, that could lead to a complete collapse of this system. And I'll get into more details on that in just a second. But Ryan, I wanted to give you a chance to jump in.
Right, and I think that the top line point for me is that this is a function of what Thomas Piketty was describing almost a decade ago at this point, this like absolute runaway extreme inequality, what Occupy Wall Street was about. There's just too much loose capital in the hands of private investors who don't feel like they have an easy way to get the return that they're looking for. And part of this is a function of the kind of long-term low interest rate life that we've been living in, coupled with the massive exploitation that has continued to push the wealth of the entire economy up to the very top. So you have very small amount of super rich people controlling most of the resources, unable to get a guaranteed interest rate returns. So they're like, well, what can we do? And they look around like, oh, wow.
He said super rich, wealthy people are trying to maximize how much money they can get. And it's from the poor. They trying to figure out how can we get more. Give me the scripture, Bob. It's crazy. This is fitting right in. Let's get it.
The book of Job, chapter 5, verse 5. All like them, like I've got it. Whose harvest the hungry eateth up.
Who's what?
Who harvest the hungry eateth up.
Everybody know what a harvest is? What's harvest time, sis?
To gather everything up in the field.
Right, it's grown and ready to be picked, right? Read that again.
Come. Who harvest the hungry eateth up, and taketh it even out of the thorn.
And taketh it even out of the thorn. So whoever we're talking about, they come into a harvest and they eating up everything. They eating up so much stuff. Even you ever stuck your hand in some thorns? What did it make you do? Like, whoa, I'm not finna going up in there. Now, what that scripture say at that part about the thorns?
It taketh it even out of the thorns.
Man, these people so greedy, they'll stick their hands in thorns to get it. They'll do anything to get it. If it take losing some money of the super rich, they will do it in order to take the poor's money. Keep reading.
And the robber swalloweth up their substance.
This is robbery, man. So blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, it's not just money. They robbing our legacy, our inheritance. We can't even come together on a corner anymore because it's pushing us the hell out. You're too busy trying to survive. That's the danger of what we see. That's it for that, right? Oh, go ahead, bro. That's it for that, though, right? Go ahead, brother.
I got a precept to go with that, if I could.
Yeah, come on. We'll come on with it.
I brought this out of class the other day. Proverbs chapter 30, verse 14. I don't know if you already got that.
No, go ahead.
Okay, Proverbs chapter 30, verse 14. There is a generation whose teeth are as swords, and their jaw teeth as knives.
Read that. Read that one more time. I'm trying to get that with you.
Proverbs chapter 30, verse 14.
30 and 14. Okay, go ahead.
There is a generation whose teeth are as swords, and their jaw teeth as knives
to
devour the poor.
To do what?
To devour the poor.
To do what?
To devour the poor.
Good night. Who do you think that generation is? Is they they teeth? Read it again from the top.
Proverbs chapter 30, verse 14. There is a generation whose teeth are as swords.
They teeth as swords. They whole existence, like, what's the job of a shark? Why does he have so many teeth? He's built to kill.
Right.
He's built to kill. Whoever this is, they are trying to kill and devour. Go ahead.
And their jaw teeth as knives.
They got teeth everywhere. It sounds like a shark. Keep reading.
To devour the poor from off the earth.
It didn't say just out the neighborhood. It didn't say just off the land. Man, white supremacy wants to kill us and wipe us out.
Right.
This is describing them right there. Keep reading, bro.
And the needy from among men.
Look at that. They don't want no homeless. They want to kill everything. They will stick their hands in thorns to kill you, to take your last bit.
Right.
Good precept, brother. Good precept. I like that myself. I have to remember that one. Let me get Leviticus 19:11.
We just snatch up all of these houses. You started seeing, New York City and London and a few other places become places where, money launderers and other oligarchs would park tens of millions of dollars in these, in these penthouses that they would never move into. Because they realize, real estate is an asset that is going to be pretty sturdy. It might go down a little bit.
Give me Proverbs.
Go up. And so when I need the money,
23 and 10.
I can sell the thing and I can get out. And this is taking that to the logical next step. Like, okay, if this $20 million penthouse is worth parking my money, why don't I park it in this $200,000 home, rent it out the entire time? So you're getting paid. You're getting paid for your investment, which is why people like to own.
Man, he told you the game. This is they flip right here. Listen to this.
Well, and so
this is how rich men are looking at the housing market.
Need the money, then I can sell the thing and I can get out. And this is taking that to the logical next step. Like, okay, if this $20 million penthouse is worth parking my money, why don't I park it in this $200,000 home? Rent it out the entire time. So you're getting paid. You're getting paid for your investment, which is why people like to own their own home, because ideally it grows while you're living in it, so that when you're ready to retire, you sell the house and that's your retirement. That's kind of like the American dream that has been sold to people. These investors have said, okay, well, we'll just buy this house, and then in this family that was going to rent it, that was going to buy it, instead now they're going to have to rent from us, because if we're all doing this,
You hear that? A family busting their ass working every day in this world right here that's evil as hell, and you got to work till you bare knuckle, till you have physical problems with you. A man and a woman, let's say average family, black man, Hispanic man, they've been, and the man and woman busting their ass all their life, and let's say they got a house and they want to retire, kids grown doing their thing, they sell it, that's their retirement. They can go somewhere, get win a bagel, one of the big RVs, whatever, or they can go to a retirement home, chill, whatever they want to do. That's almost like what they can live off of the rest of their life. This man just said, white supremacy have figured out a way to knock that dream on out. Now you just live your life and die working to pay me. Not only do you work for me, you're gonna live for me. You gotta pay your rent to me till you die. You don't own nothing. They don't want us to have anything. That's what this man just said.
Driving prices up. So we're breaking even or making a tiny profit every month. Meanwhile, there's a decent chance that the asset price rises over the years, and then we sell it. 30 years from now, when we want our cap, or we sell it, or we package it up and bundle it and turn it into assets.
Look at that. Now, white supremacy will take that money that is squeezed out of you over 30 years when you could have been and paid for your house and sold it, live in retirement, and he takes the money and adds it to he sells it after 30 years to add on to his riches. And if he chooses to, he'll chalk it up as an asset, and it just turns to value for him. He's already a millionaire. Now he's a quadruple trillionaire, whatever you want to call it. They did the same thing, but they taken your idea from you. Your little bit of survival that you want, that little crumb that you want, they just took it and made a whole loaf of bread out of it. That is evil, man. That's evil as hell.
So yeah, so it's capital just invading one of the only places that regular people have to amass wealth in this economy.
I mean, if you look at the trends, we are living in this gilded age, right? Because what led to the Great Depression was essentially people taking out debt in order to invest in the stock market. People were over leveraged, and that led to the crash. And so what we're seeing here is something very similar with the Federal Reserve printing money. We have low interest loans. Ordinary people have a much more difficult time qualifying for those insanely low interest loans. But you see these investors, these massive investors, able to get, as you mentioned, loose cash and just pump the housing market with this money. And again, they're not selling, they're not flipping these houses, which is bad enough. They're basically taking available housing off of the market and turning them into rentals, which prevents literally the only way at this point most working Americans can build generational wealth. So that's the short term, the short term ramifications of this.
She just told you right there. We read the scripture about it. They're eliminating generational wealth. They're trying to where you can leave things to your children or whatever.
The long term is, and it's difficult to tell. I don't know. I mean, there's some people who are definitely convinced that there's a housing bubble and it's going to burst and it's going to be disastrous. It's hard to tell because you can't tell how over leveraged these investors really are. But one thing that I do know is as this inequality continues to grow, and as more and more ordinary Americans find it incredibly difficult to just afford rent, these investors are not going to get the return on their investment that they're hoping for. They're like the drivers of inequality, at least part of what drives inequality in the country. That inequality hurts their bottom line in the long run, right? I don't think they've thought about that. I don't think they're even considering that because maybe they're planning on selling just as things are about to crash. But if these companies are in fact, or these investors are in fact over leveraged, we're looking at another massive collapse somewhere down the line.
Now, what that means is, layman's terms, these people are so greedy, they're not thinking about the fact that if you buy up everything and you only selling to the rich, that's a whole bunch of property that needs to be bought. So if you've kicked out majority of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, who's gonna buy it? This is going to backfire on you one way or another. They don't care about that. But one thing about Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians is that they have the most high on their side. And that is the leverage that we have. Read that scripture.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 23, verse 10. Got it. Remove not the old landmarks. And enter not into the fields of the fatherless.
Keep reading.
Verse 11. For their Redeemer is mighty.
For what?
For their Redeemer is mighty.
This is talking to you, white supremacy. You better watch yourself.
Right.
That's what this is saying. You think you're getting away with this because you think you got power in the earth and you can do whatever the hell you want. And you can just put your foot literally on our neck and get away with it. Now read this part right here.
He shall plead their cause with thee.
He shall plead their cause with thee. Does that mean the Most High is pleading with white supremacy not to hurt his people? Nah, man. When the scriptures say that, that means he's going to horribly deal with them.
Right.
The Lord's wrath is horrible. The scripture describes him as the terrorist. He is the ultimate terrorist.
Damn right.
He's the one that can have. I mean, I don't know if y'all remember. It was a volcano in Hawaii, hurricanes and earthquakes everywhere. Y'all remember that? About 2 years ago. And then it was a tornado and it was made out of fire. And then LA looked like somebody took a picture. It looked like not LA, but California was totally burnt. Like the picture that they took, it was so much fire. Like I think it was
they made the locusts and stuff. I think the locusts.
Yeah, I think the locusts hit. What's they called? The thing. What's the Mecca? Yeah, the cobblestone. It was so many locusts. Them niggas couldn't even like do that little head bounce they do or kiss the rock. They couldn't even do that. And this is a no, you too wild. This is the Most High is a God that looks out for his people. And even the heathens knew in the scriptures, if the Lord is with them, man, don't touch them, bro. They untouchable. They untouchable. But it's like this lady said herself, it tricked me out. She's one of them. She's one of them Turkish. She's a heathen too. But she even sees what's about to happen. They're going to be so greedy that the very thing that they're trying to do is going to bite them in the ass. So like it's going to happen. All right. Give me 2nd Esdras 11:40. Guys, a couple more scriptures to get us about here. What time is it, somebody? If you could. Say what? Cool. So I can say about 8:30.
Just hard to tell when.
Right, and the long-term political implications are interesting too, because focus groups, polls, and even common sense will tell you that owning a home is one of the things that actually pushes people in a politically conservative direction. They start becoming a lot more concerned about all of the types of things that conservatives are foremost concerned about. From crime to property values to what's property taxes, like get off my lawn. It creates a kind of reactionary mindset, whereas renters feel like they're willing to take more political risks because they just simply have less to lose. And so you could see a situation where this took the kind of populist energy that is out there now and supercharged it, because if you take home ownership rates from where they are and you knock them down under 20% or less, then the ability to appeal to people's fears around crime and property taxes and other issues diminishes. Not that people are going to be pro-crime, but there is something about owning a home. You're just more bothered if somebody breaks your window than if they break your landlord's window, right? Right. And so that could have interesting political implications because it creates a different class of political actor in the country.
Oh, that's a fascinating perspective, and I think you're right about that. But there's a real consequence to what the Federal Reserve is doing right now. I don't see a lot of people raising alarm about it. When we discuss inflation, usually it's in response to any type of government spending that would actually help provide financial relief to ordinary people or improve people's lives. But inflation is already negatively impacting the housing market as a result of what the Federal Reserve is doing. And I don't see enough of a discussion on that issue, but we're going to stay on it. I think it's an important issue to focus on. And for now, it doesn't seem like there's any real policy proposal to combat what we're seeing, but this is something that needs to be dealt with legislatively. There needs to be limits on how many homes any one individual or any one company can purchase. I get that people want to have an investment, but if we're dealing with this insane housing crisis, especially in a place like California, where the homelessness issue is out of control, where we keep hearing our local lawmakers tell us that we just need to redo our zoning laws and build more homes. No, they're building more homes. The problem is The developers are building the homes and then selling it off to investors who have no interest in providing affordable housing or affordable homes for people to buy.
You hear what she just said? Go ahead. Yeah.
And it's crazy, man, because I was just talking about this like yesterday or the day before yesterday. It was like when you drive around Nashville, it's a lot. It ain't the housing ain't the problem. Like the devil was just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Housing ain't the problem. They building houses everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They got houses. I'm talking about new housing, new. As soon as you turn on Buchanan right there,
Mm-hmm.
they building right across the street from the project.
Yep.
They building a housing community right there.
Right.
But the issue, what is that housing community going to be? It's going to be for the people, to move out of the projects and maybe get them a crib over there.
Exactly.
Or is it going to be like we talking about for, the people who, got money and are moving here to Nashville to, move in, and take advantage of the housing that's here, because there's a lot of housing in Nashville.
Yes, so is.
A lot of housing, but the problem is there's no affordable housing.
There you go. That's the key.
And that's what that's the problem.
That's the problem. That's what we're talking about. That's what's wicked. Yeah. And it's like, and the sad part is our people don't see it coming.
Yeah.
They can't see it coming. Like that's why in the UPK, I'm one of our major jobs is, man, talking to our people and letting them know, hey, this is coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, look, like we're not doing you like this, like some groups do.
Right.
We're doing you like this.
Right.
Like, come on, I know the way to go, but like, this storm is coming. The storm is coming. Y'all just kicking it and dancing like it's all good. This is one of the most destructive things I've seen.
Yeah.
This is almost worse than crack.
Yeah.
This is annihilating a whole neighborhood in one transaction.
Right.
That is just, man. I mean, we'll see. Oh, so like I said, I'm gonna give you 1 second. We're gonna see in about, y'all pay attention, about 10 years. Nashville is not gonna look like anything you ever remember, especially us. We're a little older.
Right.
We are a person that would have ever left the city and came back in about 20, 30 years is not gonna recognize it. It's not gonna be a black area. Right. It's not gonna be a Hispanic, Native Indian area. It's just you're gonna be like trickled in, like pepper on a steak. Like it's there, but you can't see it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Steve.
I was just gonna say it don't take long either.
Mm-mm.
They go through. It's a block right over here, two streets over from here. And within the last 6 months, the block is completely different. They have bought everything on the whole street, just 2 streets over. And ain't none. It's probably 4 original houses left, and that's it.
You're right. It might not even take 10.
Yeah,
it might take 5. It might take 2. But
so
go ahead.
And like you were just saying about how the people don't see it coming. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. When you walk around like North Nashville is the last stronghold for black people in the city of Nashville.
Damn, so is.
And when you look around and you see how aggressive they are with just like when the tornado came.
Right.
The tornado came and it destroyed them houses and them businesses up there. The white man started buying them up.
So did.
That was like, let's get it. You
Exactly.
know, this is our break.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? They started buying up houses and buying up, because people couldn't pay for it. A lot of people didn't have like house insurance.
Right, exactly.
Like
yeah.
So they couldn't pay for the damages that the tornado did.
Right.
So, white man come in straight in, hey, I can pay for it. I'll buy the house from you for such. And they sell the house. But, like you were saying, a lot of, our people, we still just walking around like zombies, you know what I'm saying? Our people out here, they going to work every day, they're working their fingers to the bone because the rent, these houses are going up, but they pay at their job is not going up.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So they have to get another job to help pay, so there's a steady cycle of them working just to survive,
right.
And the rent's going up, and you know what I'm saying? It's just our people just don't see, and like you were saying, we out here telling the people, we're showing them where safety is at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Our safety is, us being with us.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So we can build with each other. But, our people is steady, it's a hard fight.
Yeah. They cleave to the heathen. The very thing that's killing them, they want to be right next to it. Yeah. Well, let me get to the end of this, and then we'll get this last scripture.
And the Fed could do something about it. They could say as a policy, we're not going to absorb asset-backed securities that are involved in this type of this type of manipulation, because we think it's dangerous to the systemic stability of the economy. So we're just not doing it, and boom, that would deflate it overnight. They wouldn't want to do it overnight.
Yeah, and there are a lot of conflicting interests at play here. But at the end of the day, people are not only getting priced out of neighborhoods, priced out of the housing market. We're seeing the impact of this inequality and the system on our streets right now. We have encampments all over California, and it's because of this system that certainly needs to be tackled.
Thanks for watching The Young Christian.
All right. So, since we see the problem and we strategizing on, we see their strategy on them strategizing on us, Salaki. What is the answer? What will the Lord do to a people like this when it seems like you can't stop it? What's the answer? This is one thing your Christian church is not gonna do for you. I know this brother that I slaved with. He always defended the Christian church. I said, man, that Christian church, brother, it's a house of Satan, man. They ain't got nothing for you there. And he's always defending it. And the more he defends it, the more he comes to me and tells me, man, he don't know why the preacher doing this, why the preacher doing that. He has questions for him that I tell him, ask your pastor this. He can't never answer that question. Now, for brothers like that, because I know he's probably watching, here's the answer of what the Lord is going to do about this. Now, this is the Apocrypha. This is, go ahead, call it out, brother Slack.
In the Apocrypha, 2nd Esdras, chapter 8, verse 14.
Should be 11. 11 and 40.
11 and 40, Slack.
No, you're right.
2nd Esdras, chapter 11, verse 40.
And I want you to go to 46.
Mm-hmm. I like when I got it. Verse 40. And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past and had power over the world.
This is white supremacy right here. Go ahead.
With great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth, with much wicked oppression.
With what?
With much wicked oppression.
You can look at Job 9 and 24 to let you understand who is the one oppressing everyone. Being that it's wicked, this is white supremacy. All right, keep going.
And so long time dwelt upon the earth with deceit.
So these are the lies that white supremacists have told ever since they tell you it's a white Jesus, all the way to you supposed to serve your master as a slave. Any lie they've ever told. Go ahead.
Verse 41. For the earth has not thou not judged with truth.
The earth, meaning that white supremacists have never used justice in judging the earth. Never. They don't even know what justice is. Keep going.
Verse 42. For thou hast afflicted the meek. Thou hast hurt the peaceable.
Look at that. Why would anybody know what a pangolin is? Have you ever seen a pangolin? You know how evil you got to be to hunt down and kill it. Can you imagine slaughtering a pangolin, sis?
Absolutely.
It's like, could you imagine slaughtering you don't know? Okay, a pangolin. It looked prehistoric. It looked like a.
He talking about, he ain't talking about the duck thing.
No, he's talking about a pangolin.
No, you talking about a platypus?
No.
What are you talking about?
Not a platypus. It's a little baby platypus. Wait, no, you talking about the pangolin.
The pangolin, like what the Asians chopped up and ate and, spread the disease with. A pangolin, bro, is like, it's just this little animal. He looked prehistoric. It looked like a big ass armadillo. Yeah. It actually rolls into a ball. You can pick it up like it's harmless, bro. It's like It's like a koala bear is more ferocious. Yeah, it reminds me of roly poly. It's like a dinosaur roly poly. You know how evil you gotta be to hunt that down and kill it? You know how many animals white supremacy has hunted down and killed heathens? They are a nation that preys on the weak, preys on the meek. Keep reading. I'm sorry, that just came to my head when he was reading. I was like, when he afflicting the meek, thou has hurt the peaceable. Man, they not only us, man, they can't even have mercy on an ant, bro. They'll try to burn every ant in the world. If they found out an ant has a disease or something, they'll burn every ant to get that ant. You know, that's their mentality. But go ahead, Salaki.
Thou hast loved liars.
Look at that. This world, it has taught you to love liars. This is what white supremacy teach. Keep going.
And destroy the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit.
And what?
Destroy the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit.
Man, anybody remember Tulsa, Oklahoma? Black Wall Street, Rosewood, Wilmington, North Carolina? That brought fruit for us. What did they do? And those three cities, I ain't even say Seneca Village, that is what you call Central Park right now. What did white supremacy do to that? To those things, those three cities I just named.
Destroy them.
Why?
You don't make any money without it.
It's right there in your face. Why?
Destroy dwellings. They brought forth fruit.
They brought forth fruit. Anytime blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are doing good, white supremacy is coming to destroy it. Keep reading.
Come. And has cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm.
Keep going.
Verse 43. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up to the highest, and the pride unto the mighty.
And the what?
Pride unto the mighty.
And the pride unto the mighty, man. White supremacy will even contest the Most High. They claim to be God. Keep reading.
Come. Verse 44. The highest also have looked upon the proud time, and behold, they are ended.
They what?
They are ended.
They what?
They are ended.
Their time is not for a long time. It's for a short time. And it's coming to an end. Keep going.
Come. And his abominations are fulfilled.
You've done enough things that the Lord hates. Keep going.
Verse 45. And therefore appear no more, thou eagle.
Thou what?
Thy eagle.
Thou what?
Thou eagle.
Don't they love the eagle? They always represent the eagle. Ever since Greeks, Romans, all the way back to, I think, the Babylonians. Keep going.
Come. Nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor thy all vain body. Verse 46.
Meaning that everything that you're known for with your weapons, with your power, with your authority, with your schemes, the Lord is not finna let you have that. He's about to bring all that down. Let's go.
Verse 46. That all the earth may be refreshed.
That what?
That all the earth may be refreshed.
White supremacy is so evil that it's doing this to the whole earth. Wherever there's blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians around the whole earth, you're going to see this and strategies like this. Keep going.
Come. And may return, be delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and the mercy of him that made her.
Let me tell you something. That's their fate. White supremacy is not going to get away with schemes like this. But what we got to understand is the only way for us to get out of it is we have to come to the truth. Like we read early in, I think it's Leviticus 20 and 26. The Lord is talking about being holy, holy being separate. He even said himself that you got to sever yourself. He wants us severed from all these other nations. We have to understand that, man, because with strategies like this, they're going to kill us if we let them. All right. With that, I pass the class off to Trooper Darakia. Appreciate that, bro.
This is the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, start on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are here, they're to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, a brother or sister that has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to that brother or sister. There was another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period is over, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. My Ishra, which means 10th in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny or increase the Lord gives you. You can give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, which is a free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations.
Oh, you can't see that door.
Upcoming holy convocation is the Lord's Passover, the 14th day of the first month, which is Saturday, April 24th. You can find this in the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verses 1 through 51, the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 4 through 5, 1 Corinthians, chapter 5, verses 7 through 8, and 2 Chronicles, chapter 30, verse 17. And with that, Amajum, men of Israel will give one curse salute. Ma Shabbat, Amajum, Barak, Yahweh, Yamta, Sar, return to the sister one curse salute. Ma Shabbat, Amajum, Barak,
Yahweh Shema Hashem Yahushua.
Yahweh Shema Hashem Yahushua.
Yamata, Sar, class dismissed.
Right. That was an excellent class. Good class. Like that.